Hello, today I am playing with distress inks and stamps only. This is a nice thing for a beginner with distress inks, I think. But I made this booklet because I wanted to play with a new stamp set from our journey. You know that I'm a design team member, and this is my first little project with this beautiful new stamp set with a lot of sentiments and sayings, so I really like that. But first I'm creating a nice set of distress inks backgrounds. This is the basics. Just smear it onto your craft mat, put a little water on top of it, spray it, and then just dab your paper into the distress ink, dry it, do it again, use up everything that you've got left of on your craft mat. The only thing you have to make sure is that you don't use colors with each other that make mud. So I'm using what am I using? A squeezed lemon, a mermaid lagoon, picked raspberry, and cracked pistachio. And I make sure that I don't use the cracked pistachio with the picked raspberry because they don't match. They don't come from the same color group, so they will make mud. Now you've seen what I've done. I created some backgrounds and I leave them to dry, but I wanted to do some solid colored backgrounds as well, because I thought that I was going to play with bleach. I didn't do that in the end, but I made the papers anyway and I used them for the booklet. So I'm putting some gesso, plain cheap gesso on my paper through that stencil. Just dry it quite well and then saturate the paper with distress ink. This is the picked raspberry. This is the side of the paper that I use random places. The squeezed lemon. And mixing them together will create orange, as you know, and the blue and the picked raspberry make purple, and the blue and the yellow make green. That's why they go together that well. And they won't create mud, and that's what we don't want, so that's why I did it like that. And now on the other side I am using vertical lines of distress ink. Here I am going to use the cracked pistachio, and that's just because I don't put the colors together that don't match. I will do the picked raspberry all the way to the end. And now you see, and I'm going to explain for the beginners, the blue and the green and the yellow come from the same color group because, you know, blue and yellow make green, so that's perfectly fine. And as I said before, the picked raspberry and the squeezed lemon will make orange. So I spray it with a lot of water. You can see the gesso coming through, and I am going to dry it. Let it drip, and you can see it blends very nicely. You could dab it with a little tissue if you like, but I do like the way it looks. Now drying off the papers, and you can see that I'm done. Now what to do with them? I trim them. I make pieces of, I think, 4.5 centimeters. That's because of the width of the sayings on the stamp sheet. I do want them to fit, and well, the most of them are about 4.5 centimeters. You see that I cut them in 10 centimeter strips, so 4.5 by 10. I got a lot of them. I don't use all of them. I choose the ones that I like the most, and then I start stamping. That's the only thing I do. I stamp the words and the images. You know, this is the one and this is the other one that I'm working with. There were two coming out. Well, this is one and one before that. As I said, I'll leave the names of the stamp sheets and the link to Art Journey in my description box. Now, that's the only thing I do. I do both sides of the paper. I start out with one side using those two stamp sheets only. I do like those words and sayings, but I do cut them up, as you can see. I cut them up and create my own sentences, and it gives a very nice look to it because you use different kinds of fonts and different kinds of the ways they are written. Then I stamp with a little background stamp here and there, some splatters, again with archival or with distress ink. That's the only thing I used, and you can see it looks like I've done a lot, but I didn't. It was quite easy to do. Now, just showing you what I did. These are stamp sheets from previous stamps. I'll list them also underneath the description box because they are some of my favorites. That's why I use them. Now, the only thing I do, you know that from me, is just put a little black line around them. I love that crow, so beautiful, and this one too. The hummingbird. I'm sorry, I get distracted. And then just emphasize the words a little bit. You can see that I mixed the words up here and there. Now, the only thing I do is go around with black marker. Wherever it's not stamped that nice, I just use my black marker to make it look better. Now, this is just a little mole. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what it is. You see what I'm doing? I need to poke some holes, and I couldn't find my crocodile-like apparatus. So I'm just using this little poking thing. I made this template. That's what I was looking for, to make sure that the holes are in the right place on every card. And I had just a little baker's twine that I used, and then I'm going to bind them together. I'm using a bookbinder's needle to do so, but it was a bit hard to get the thread to through the eye of the needle. It took me about 2 minutes, I think. So here the puzzle. Oh, this is where I'm searching for the needle. Couldn't get it out of that little pocket. And now I'm going to thread my thread. It was a bit hard, but I managed. I thought I cut this. It's not that interesting. You see me struggle with a little piece of thread and a needle. But anywho, I've done it. At first I thought I would sew them like this, but then I changed my mind and I stuck the needle through the cards from the back, and then I just put a little knot in it. That's the only thing I did, so I could just flip them over. And then it was a bit too tight, so I loosened it up. It was, I think it took me about 2 minutes to do so, so it was a bit hard. But in the end, I'll make. Now, this is the finished one, and now I'm going in with a little bit of white ink, because here and there's too much, how do I say it, solid color, so I just needed a little bit of the white ink to tone things down. You won't see it that well, but I go I flip through the little booklet and see where it's needed, just using this little stencil. And then I don't know why I did it. I thought it needed it, a little bit of white, a little bit of sparkle, so I go and use this white ink and my white marker. Most of the time I'm just satisfied with my work. And black, of course. Oh, I forgot. Yes, I did it with black anyway. So well, that's what I do. Just a little touch-ups here and there. Can't explain why I'm doing things. You have to do it yourself and then just look if you like it that way. And I really thought that some pages needed something extra. Just go around the heart with a little marker, a black marker and a white one, and well, just touch up this little Robin needed a little bit white. Well, that's basically it. So just showing you, and I have got some pictures on the Art Journey Design Team blog for you to see, and other work of my colleagues as well, because there are some pretty awesome cards made with the new stamp sheet. So if you like, just check it out. You could get some nice ideas to use your stamps or buy the Follow Your Heart stamp sheet. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.